God, we just thank you. I thank you for this space. I thank you for creating this space and this community where we get to be our authentic selves, where we get to share and where we get to laugh and just love on each other again in Jesus. This season started with conversations, but somewhere along the way, it became confrontation with ourselves, with our beliefs, with our healing, and with God. And if we're honest, we thought we were creating a podcast for other women. And guess what? We ended up getting transformed ourselves. This season has stretched us, it has called us out, it has pulled things to the surface that we were not even expecting or planned for. It made us say things out loud that we have carried privately for years. And apparently, y'all felt it too.
Mm.
Because the messages, okay, the DMs, the texts, the women stopping us in public, okay, in the grocery store, the hair salon, oh my gosh, and the tears, the I thought I was the only one. We realized this wasn't just content. This became community. This became our community. And tonight, we just want to reflect honestly on what this season changed in us.
We hope that you are ready. Welcome to the YesWork podcast. We are your hosts. I am Dr. Blair.
The DQ. And I'm Lady B.
And somehow we done got here. We are already at the season finale. We are a little over 4 months. We've done 18 episodes. We've had all types of conversations, thousands of reflections, a whole lot of internal work, probably a little too much. I feel like this is cosmetic surgery and I done been on this table way too many times. This season has been exposing. It's been stretching. It has been hilarious at times. It's been healing, emotional, uncomfortable, and it's been deeply meaningful as well. And we just wanted to give tonight the opportunity to just be really intentional and be less structured, more reflective, more conversational, remove that polished nature, and just wrap everything up as perfectly as we can. We wanted to sit in this season and what it has revealed to us and give that to you all as we reflect on this journey. If this podcast has impacted you in any way, make sure to follow, subscribe, rate, review, share this with the person sitting next to you, across from you, the person that you know is struggling with something right now. Share with someone who's been on this journey with us.
All right, ladies, let's get into this. Episode 19. What we can no longer ignore is this, right? So, growth sounds beautiful. It's amazing. It's wonderful until it starts to disrupt your identity. And I really feel like this season, we have had so many disruptions to who we thought we were or who we were aiming to be, not just for us, but for our listeners too. Because this season forced us to examine who we learned to be, where we learned it from, what we normalized, what we survived, and what God may actually be inviting us into instead. And once you see those certain things, you can't unsee them anymore. So you cannot unsee those survival patterns, those emotional walls, that unhealthy theology, which may have been misinterpreted or misinformed. We also can't unsee performance or fear disguised as strength, or bitterness disguised as protection. Y'all remember that episode? And honestly, some of those episodes, they didn't just challenge y'all. They challenged us. They challenged our loved ones and our relatives that were able to join us and converse with us and talk with us about this time. And do I dare say that maybe it even challenged some of the men in our lives? I don't know. Possibly. If we didn't get to them this season, tell them to tune on in next season.
So I think one of the most unexpected parts of this season was realizing that these conversations didn't stop when we stopped recording. We went back to our husbands, our everyday life, our work, and The episodes stayed with us, the reflection pieces stayed with us, the conversations followed us, and we started talking differently or maybe processing differently with our loved ones and other people that we engage with. Things we said out loud here, we had to sit with privately after this. And that is the beautiful transformation part that we've talked about when it comes to this yes work. A part of the reason why this season connected with so many women is because they could hear the transformation and the activation happening in us too, through our tears, through those long pauses, through the laughter.
Mhm.
And I think it was so real because we were not speaking from this place of perfection, because we know we're not perfect. We were speaking from what we were actively processing through and healing from and unlearning and rebuilding while doing this work. And that really shifts the conversation and it shifts the impact. So we want to just take a moment and reflect on what this season did to us personally. So, if you stayed with us in episode 18, Counselor Lady B led the way with some beautiful prompts, and I'm going to try to take that over. I'm not on her level, but I'm going to do my best. So, ladies, I really want us to start with the general prompt of what conversation stayed with you after recording ended. What's the one where you were like, Lord, that episode was for me, or what we was talking about that hit a little different. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, so first of all, I it's really hard to pick just one, so I might touch on a few because I think the beautiful thing about this community in these episodes is that it's been a lot of internal reflection. And so a lot of it, I think every episode I would say I have taken something away from it, whether it was just for my own personal development or if it was just learning about my sisters here on this podcast. So the one that I think about that resonates with me and that has really helped to shape a lot of my identity, especially as I try to, work to build a community of other like minded women, other Christian women of faith is we have this episode. I don't know if y'all remember this one, but it was episode 11, God First Without Shame. And here, we were kind of talking about just our understanding of our relationship with God and where did it come from and who told you like where did you learn that from? And for me, I talked about how I grew up with this whole belief that I had to act a certain way, I had to be a certain way. There was a certain way that I needed to be in order to be close to God. And it felt like, if you keep thinking that way, you'll never be good enough, right? You'll never be in that place, in that position to be where you want to be. So that closeness with him. And so in that conversation, I definitely learned that, well, one, I already knew, right? I already knew I was in this place that God is already with me, but it was therapeutic to just have that conversation, to speak it out loud and not be ashamed of my growth in my journey, in my development and relationship with Christ. And so faith was not about trying to maintain a checklist. And I will say that a lot of the times it was like a checklist. Okay, I'm doing devotion, check. I'm reading the Bible, check. I'm going to church every single Sunday. I'm doing everything right. But what's going on? Still there was still not that connection that I was lacking something there. And so if you all remember, if you want to go back to that episode, it was really me understanding that I had to develop that personal relationship with Christ, right? And so for me, especially these last few episodes, we've been talking about how I wrestle back and forth with Christ. So we have gotten to that point. Me and God, we on Jesus is my homeboy for real. Like now I know where that little tagline came from back then, but that's my road dog. And I'm going to talk to him, and have developed that close relationship with him where I can be myself, where he knows me. And so I don't feel that I have to be anything other than myself. So that particular episode is what stands out for me. I agree with Lady B in that there was something I walked away from every single episode with. I have communicated this with our listeners that of our three pillars for this podcast, mine is obedience. And so the episode that I will speak about today is actually episode 12, which was titled Wealth, Work, and Spiritual Order. So it's no secret, I've had a very interesting, to say the least, year. So just to recap, I graduated with my doctorate March 27th of last year. And since then, I've been working to grow in my career, grow in my profession. And it seems like stuff just keeps happening, keeps coming, coming, coming. So from my car burning down, that was kind of the climax, right? I'm driving down the highway, smoke under my hood, my daughter's in the back seat, car catches fire, and it burns down. Y'all, I got pictures. If we could add pictures to this podcast, I would. Wow. Oh, okay. I was like, wow, you really testing our editing skills. We could try. No, but I mean, like, hey, if we could, I would. But that, and then just the cycle of things that just seem to keep happening. And so that particular episode, I spoke kind of about my understanding of money and how it connected to confidence and how that relates to my professional journey this year. So it stuck with me, and across the last few months, I have just been in my devotion, working, praying, engaging with my sisters here on this podcast, finding the parallels between what I'm supposed to be doing, what I'm supposed to be understanding, how I'm supposed to be moving. And what's interesting, I think, God's timing is divine, God's timing is perfect. Running that up against this community that I'm in for my business and just figuring how all of it fits together. So I do want to take this moment just to say that over time, from that episode and from all the episodes we've done, but from that episode, I've continued to step out on faith, step into my confidence, and I do want to tell the listeners about my business. It is the LXD Studio, Learning Experience Design, and we specialize in helping educators integrate technology effectively. So that is my passion, that is my heart, that is my zone of genius that I'm operating in. But while I'm operating in that, I'm standing on God and standing in His promises. And so, if I could just put together a visual to help y'all see how all of this stuff has really been working together over the last few months, I would. But that is the episode that really stayed with me and continued to guide me and stretch me. And that was the one I kind of kept coming back to in my prayers and in my thoughts, and even in the conversations that I have off the podcast with these ladies.
You better tell the people about who you are and what you do.
Mm.
For me, it was episode 10, which was centered on bitterness, because in that episode, I think I felt conviction as far as, all right, Blair, this is the work that you need to do. This is something you've struggled with previously. Like, we need to overcome this thing and be free from it. And there was also this bit of, and I don't want to say it was necessarily shame, but it was a feeling around, "My goodness, I'm on this podcast with these two women where they're like, this ain't even a struggle." Our pre-talk about that episode, these ladies were like, "I can't really relate." And I was like, "Oh, I can absolutely relate. This is it for me." Um, so that work was really focused and really intentional. That was probably the start of like, "Oh, this episode is for me" type, mindset when it came to doing some of this work. And I'll even say that it came back up with the most recent episodes we've done around disappointment with God, as well as how to regain trust. And when we talked about regaining trust, we talked about how we will oftentimes align God with like human characteristics. Like, well, you don't hurt me once, so now I gotta kind of keep you at a distance. And it's like, oh, that shouldn't be, he's not regular people. what we talking about? But when your resentment shifts to this space of bitterness, it's really difficult to trust fully or to trust and still know like there's a risk associated with it, as Dr. DQ shared in our last episode. So it is something that is an active unpacking and working for me. But it's absolutely the one that continues to stay at the forefront of my mind just based off of how I've been operating in my adult world. I think it's a really good segue into us thinking through about what this season has revealed about us, who we are as women, who we are as mothers, who we are as friends, who we are as stewards of God's word, who we are as far as how we represent him, the word, and other important aspects of who we are becoming in some cases. So I'm wondering, ladies, I'm turning on my counselor, Dr. Blair. What do you feel like this season has revealed about you and who you are? Blank stare from Dr. DQ is giving all the things.
I feel like this podcast on numerous occasions has reminded me that I am hashtag doing too much.
Mm,
And
we can double click on that. We'll just do a little.
my gosh, doing too much. There were several episodes, so I can't just pick one, but I have learned that I overextend myself. We at one point we talked about being people pleasers and I am a people pleaser or have operated in that. And what I love about this podcast and being a co-host on this podcast is that it has been called to the forefront, and I am so mindful now of, when I am having those interactions with people or having that interaction at home. There was an episode when we talked about cleaning your house. Y'all remember that one?
Yes.
Cleaning your household and having, teaching your son or your child to do this and your husband, like, let them, let the house. So every time now I am thinking every time I go to like, "Ooh, this need to be clean." I'm thinking back to that episode and I'm like, "Oh god, I need to just let it be, lady B. Just let it be, girl. Let it go."
Yes.
And so it has been refreshing, I would say, of the things that have been called out for me. And it's great because I'm in a safe space, right? Where I know that these women love me and genuinely care and want what's best for me. And so they have no problem telling me when I ain't doing something right or when I need to do more, especially more for myself. And so it is just such a great community. So there's a lot of exposing that happens to yourself as Dr. Blair was kind of, sharing there. But yeah, I'm doing too much and that's not the identity that I want to carry.
This season revealed to me that I'm impatient, and I knew that, right? I did. I knew that when there's something I want, I'm like, okay, let's do it. What's taking so long? What's happening? So I realized that I'm impatient, and it also helped me realize that I was performing in my faith. It wasn't something I intended to do, something I had planned to do. I just didn't realize that I really wasn't being that transparent with God. So, like I spoke last episode, I was talking around God and talking about Him, but not talking to Him. So, I had to realize, like, hey, what does it mean to fully surrender? What does it mean to fully trust? Am I really operating as his child, or am I trying to take control? Because we spoke about plan B in that back left corner. That was me a lot. Okay. I was always like, oh, well, I could figure it out. So this season absolutely revealed the assumption that I had about my relationship with God and how transparent it was, just for me to realize it wasn't. It wasn't as authentic as it could be. It wasn't as direct. I wasn't surrendering the way that I needed to.
That's good. So I appreciate you sharing that because for me, it was the revelation that this is not performative. I think I used to always think that, you present this way that you're this amazing Christian woman and that I'm gonna pray for you, I'm gonna add you to the board and I'm gonna And I really, even me joining the praise and worship, our dance ministry, I was like, did I do this for the right reason? Oh my goodness, the Holy Ghost be taking over. Like, there is this beautiful revelation that has happened for me where it was like, no, this is who you are. Like,
Huh?
this is it. Even especially reflecting on Mother's Day was not too long ago. And, at our church, we do these awards or people will do these messages sharing what that they love their mama. My mama's the one who taught me to pray and who introduced me to the church. And my goodness, that is me.
Yes, it is.
Like, I can reflect on talking to my daughter and telling her, well, you're praying for God to fix this thing and pray for him to fix you. Pray for you to have increased patience and compassion and be able to articulate things to your brother so he doesn't get angered. And pray for God to reveal in you how to respond in a way that will show his love and light. Like, I am teaching my children, like, no, you need to pray for this. You're praying for the wrong thing. Show up this way. Glorify God. There are moments when my son will walk around, he was like, "Mommy, it's a beautiful day, and that ain't nothing but God." Okay.
Praise
Tell the
God.
free world. Tell the free world. So it has revealed to me that this is who you are, girl. This is who you are. So I love that we're just all at these different places. And again, it's all aligning with the journey that we're on and what God wants us to realize, the identity that He wants us to know that we have that is in him. Like, we are righteous women of God, righteous daughters of God. And to have that identity and to embrace it and to be proud and to be confident about it, like, that's no joke. That right there, baby, that'll replace any makeup routine you got, any Shein overhaul you got in your cart right now, baby. That will level you up. So when you walk outside, your chest just lifted to the sky and your chin is up. It's amazing when you know your identity in God. And I think that that's what this is. I'm not going to get emotional today. I just want to bring it home with y'all. What has this been like and feeling like doing this in public? We outside. People can see us. We have shared this with our family, with our friends. We've posted it on our social media platforms. Like, what this done to you? Because we just out here. We exposed. Exposed. We naked.
We are out here. You know what? And I was so excited before our first episode. Like, I've always wanted to have a podcast, right? And I never had the courage
Mm.
to just step out on faith and start the podcast. And I would say, and so I'm so grateful for these women to just do this with. I would say that this has been one of the best projects I've ever done in my entire life. One of the best experiences ever. But I would tell you that I still internally have this feeling of fear of what are they going to say, or what are people going to think, or are people going to listen? Those were all the questions that came to mind. So I would say by just being public, it's been great. I've been the person approaching other women to say, hey, I have a podcast.
Eh,
I think you should listen. I think you would, really get some great information and tips. And so after I'm so comfortable now, I definitely was eerie about it, if is that the right word?
Anxious, nervous.
Anxious? Yeah, I was anxious, about it, before, but it has boosted my confidence, I would say. I would say, as a woman who's I am always have been pretty confident, this has boosted my confidence in speaking. So, I've had the opportunity to have a couple of speaking engagements since we've had this podcast. So that's been great. But the transformation that we talked about, or that was my word for this season, was transformation. And I just have seen it. Like, it is continuously, the onion is continuously pulling layers and layers. And I can't wait to see the version of me that is, continuously growing. So I'm excited.
She bird.
So actually, Dr. Blair, you kind of hit it on the nail for me. It's like a new identity. I don't talk to family a lot about it. I know I have a couple of family members that listen. A couple of people have mentioned episodes to me. It is like a new identity and just getting comfortable with who I am becoming in Christ, right? So I realized this morning I was listening to the radio. I listened to Erica Campbell in the morning and Griff, and he was doing his segment and he was talking about faith, and I perked up. And so in this new identity, I realized like I love hearing about other people talk about their faith and about talking about my faith. So I realized that this morning. And then also doing this in public, it has got me to this place where I'm comfortable with that exposure, feeling exposed, that vulnerability. Now, yes, I admit it's easy to do it behind a microphone, behind a computer with my friends. Set it and forget it. I said it. Y'all will hear about it later. So there's this disconnection from this exact moment of vulnerability. But it's also great to just see how all of the pieces are coming together by living in that vulnerability, which comes from talking about faith and where I am. So, my devotion every morning, it's kind of held me accountable in a sense because I know that I'm going to connect with you ladies. I know that I love talking about faith. I know that I'm having this test because I'm going to have a testimony. So it's been enlightening and it's just been building up my new identity. Don't smile at me like that, Dr. Blinger.
I love it, especially because I know that there have been people who have shared with me how they appreciate your position right now and your posture right now, Dr. DQ, because of their past experience, church hurt, whatever it may be, the judgment they've experienced from people not feeling like they are where they're supposed to be, whatever that even means as far as their relationship with God. And so I love that, again, we're all on different journeys and we all have different relationships with Him, still a level of closeness. But you and you may be joking, but you be like, I still got a little secular in me and I still be
Or
people
my
relate to
radio,
that.
listen, my radio, it be on the spectrum sometime. It's better. It's better. But sis, let me tell you, when I first started this journey, I was very much so on the spectrum with my music choices. Anywhere between ratchet and righteous, somewhere between hood and holy. That's where my radio would be. But I'm doing better. I'm doing a lot better. I have not listened to Glorilla in a couple of months now.
Okay, we getting there. We getting there. I mean, it's
It's a
wild how it'll
journey.
change your it will change it
Changes your
because
faith.
we
Now, if
are
99, 2000 come on the radio, it's still gonna be a party, but
that's real.
I'm
That's
making better
real.
choices.
Yes, yes. I think I realized at one point in time that that's a part of my praise and my worship, obviously, when I listen, because gospel it's the kids know. They be like, "Mommy, we listening to God music." Yes, that's what we I used to integrate kids bop in there every once in a while. Now I'm like, no, this is my car. I pay this note. So we gonna listen to Tasha Cobb's Leonard, okay?
Yeah,
And Frank Hammond.
girl,
And Donnie McClurkin, because I still love you, Donnie.
Corey loves Sunday service choir, okay?
Yes.
She
I
does.
love Sunday service
Alex
choir.
Jean, Forrest Frank.
I love Forrest Frank, y'all.
We love for it. We love
There's
you for it.
another one, Hovey? Hovey?
Hovey.
Is
All
that
the
is he
people.
from there?
Listen, you would think I had two tens in the back the way. Like my car be
I
shaking
just
for the
got a
Lord.
thought, y'all. We're gonna have a YesWork
Playlist?
iTunes. We
I
can do
do.
that.
I love it. I appreciate y'all sharing. I do. I really do. And I think that this is just a reflection again of what is happening in us and what we hope is happening in other people at your own time, at your own pace, at your own rate. We don't care if it take episode 56 before you like I've had my revelation. I'm looking at things differently. It don't matter how long it take cuz God will wait on you. He real patient. So, we appreciate y'all listening to us as we shared our pieces of this process.
Well, we're gonna just keep this conversation going because I'm liking where it's going, but I got a few more questions to dig in a little bit deeper because you know what? This podcast has, like we said, has exposed us to many different things, many thoughts. But I'm just curious, are the people Are the people that you thought were gonna listen to this podcast, are they listening? I've been the biggest surprise of people who are listening or not listening.
It's hard to I don't know if I don't know if everyone who does listen that I know of, friends, family, etcetera, has revealed it to me. I will say there are a couple where I'm like, "Oh, I love that you're listening, and this is amazing." And then that again, the feeling of like, "Ooh, what episode did you listen to? Hold on, what did I say? What are you thinking about me now?" But there are definitely some people who I know are burdened with, fatigue and the pressures of being a woman, not having full faith in God, in the real crisis as far as like, why me, God? Like, why me? And there's only so much that we can say or do to say, like, hey, here's an opportunity for you to reflect so there are definitely people where I'm like, I just
Yeah.
listen. And maybe it won't have an impact, but it'll just give you something else that you've heard before. I don't know, but I want you to listen. Or better yet, I want you to get through this. Or I want you to see God for who he is and see him face to face. Like you don't have his countenance right now. Like he's running after you and you got your back to him type things.
Mhm.
So I think that makes it hard where it's like we have this desire to have impact and to bring people closer to God. And I mean, we can build the bridge, but that don't mean somebody gonna walk across it.
Mhm.
That's hard.
Definitely.
Didn't really have any expectations, honestly. This was something that I did for myself with my sisters. It was more so me working on my own relationship with God. And if somebody saw it, great. If somebody heard it, great. If I could be the example or the reason why someone else decided to give God a try, then I'm good. That was what I kinda aspired to. Possibly this is a growth area for me to maybe talk to people about it, but I never did it with the expectation that other people that I knew would listen. It was just kinda like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that's nice, thanks," but it was more for me.
Yeah, I love that. I think, what surprised me the most was how much my mom loves this podcast.
Well, your mama
Hey,
love
mom.
you, so of course she's gonna
She
hate.
loves me, but she shares it with her girlfriends and they talk about it. I remember one of my mom's friends called her at like 8 o'clock in the morning. Cecilia, did you hear the podcast? She was crying in tears about how wonderful it was. And so I just appreciate the love. And I knew it was great when my mom was like, we gotta figure out how to get y'all some speaking engagements or get y'all booked for something. I was like,
Girl. Shout out to Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church in Durham, North Carolina, because we have some listeners there. That's our home church. And yes, we were even invited, and I don't know if they were joking or not, but they were like, "Y'all can come and film the podcast, record the podcast at the couples event for Valentine's Day." I was like, Okay." And I was like, "Are y'all serious or nah? Because we just trying to get this off the ground." But we have that support in that community.
so, and I just went and pulled up a comment from one of our viewers because again, this just shows that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. But he says, hey, Brittany, just wanted to commend you for your obedience to Jesus and boldness in your faith.
Yeah.
You are an encouragement to many for stepping out in faith and starting this podcast. I listened to the first episode. It was very well done and sounded and felt very professional. Blessings to you in your new ventures. First of all, this is a guy, okay? And it's a guy from grad school. I was like, oh my gosh, how amazing. Thank you for the feedback.
Let's talk about how we were in a
Okay.
closet.
Like I said, if we could show pictures on this podcast, we would show y'all how we was straight up in the closet trying to record this first
Okay.
podcast. We got pictures and everything, child. All three of us in there, three computers.
My gosh. So, I appreciate it. And doing this work publicly, it sounds beautiful. And It is for the most part until it really does start requiring honesty from us, right? So I just thank you all, like I just enjoy this girl talk. And ultimately, through this podcast, we have realized that transformation is not a destination. This is really an ongoing confrontation with truth for us. And God is blessing it.
He's a good God.
He's a good
That's
God.
right. So I love that I get to talk about culture and real world, right? God is the real world too. So is Jesus. But, we've had several conversations about taking our learning and what we see in the church and what we learn through these conversations and how it shows up in our jobs and in our relationships with other people and also our relationship with ourselves and how we treat ourselves. So I love that I get to talk about culture and make that connection because a lot of what society and what culture has taught us completely contradicts what we're supposed to be learning and doing and how we're supposed to be operating in God. So if we look back over this season, we've learned that God is not intimidated by our honesty or our transparency. He desires that. And that is where he can really do the most work and growth with us. We've also learned that healing and holiness are not opposites. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it's actually a strength because when we can be vulnerable, that is when we're exposing ourselves to God. That is when we're saying, Lord, fix it. And that helps us surrender. We've also learned that boundaries are spiritual. Let that one sink in, okay? There's a difference between setting up a boundary to protect yourself and setting up a boundary because you don't want to deal with something. So those boundaries are spiritual. One of my favorite lessons this season is that softness is not passivity. Dr. Blair, your facial expression right now. Uh-huh. Dr. Blair, she's growing in her softness.
In it, yeah.
She stuck the baby toe into that softness.
It's really just a baby toe. It ain't even a big toe. I done
Okay.
isolated that toe.
Yeah. We also learned that disappointment does not disqualify faith. Okay. It's okay to be disappointed. That doesn't shift your faith. It's okay. That's when we get to step into our Lady B moments where we're wrestling and tussling with God. We also learned that obedience is deeper than performance. But one of the biggest lessons that we've learned that we try to inspire and instill in other people is that the community matters. Being able to have these conversations with people who are like-minded, with our close friends, our relatives, our families, and maybe even strangers, right? Because that community can be defined how we need it to be defined, but it's okay to commune with people that we don't know about things that we do know, and what we do know is God.
He did.
Thank you. See, look. I wouldn't have said that back in January. All right. So, what God keeps inviting us to do, let's talk about it. He is not asking us for perfection. He's not asking us for performance. And He is not asking us to be polished. And He knows that because He made us. What
Amen.
He is asking us for is honesty, alignment, surrender, wisdom, healing, discernment. Lord, please grow my discernment. And a deeper relationship with Him. All of those things will help us ground our lives and our hearts and our minds and our spirits in God so we can grow that deeper relationship with Him. We had that episode where we were talking about flowers and growth, and I don't have that green thumb. I don't know, listeners. Dr. Blair, you were talking about pruning a lot.
Was, and cultivating, and yeah, it was all
Listen.
types of
So all of those things will help us cultivate that relationship with Him. So this season, if we ground ourselves spiritually in God, we remember from this season that God does not only meet us in uncertainty, He's going to be there when we question, He's going to be there when we wrestle. He's going to be there when we're in grief or in transition, in healing. And He's going to be there and He's going to help us rebuild and He's going to help us become who it is that He has created us to be.
Thank you. Thank you. That is so good. Such a great reminder. So, listeners, wherever you might be, whether you're in the shower listening, the car listening, you may be realizing I am not who I was at the beginning of this season. And some of those conversations that I've been a part of or that I've listened to on this podcast have exposed things that I was avoiding. I've started to think differently. I've started questioning differently, and I've become more honest with myself. If you're in those situations, or having those thoughts, we can definitely agree. We have all seen some growth. We have all been in this place where we are doing that deep internal reflection, and that is just a good space to be in. But sis, let me tell you, it's okay if you're also in this place where you're still processing. Maybe you still are unsure or still healing those wounds, still rebuilding and still untangling. Okay, we had an
Entanglement.
episode on untangling as well.
Yep.
And if that's the case, we want you to know that that's okay too, right? Because this is a journey. Growth rarely feels settled while it's happening. So we invite you to be a part of this journey.
And we really invite you to just stay. We talked about long suffering being that you're in the midst of whatever your struggle and challenge is. It's the endurance, it's the ability to stay and continue to praise and worship and remind yourself that the God that you was praising just 2 weeks ago for that thing that you wanted, that you got, is the same God that's with you right now in the midst of the struggle that you're experiencing. So just stay open. Don't turn your back to God. Stay face to face with Him. That's our invitation. We want you to stay so you can grow, so you can reveal your truth, your understanding, so you can have a better understanding of your identity in Him, so you can encounter that safety, so you can heal. Because we talked about how healing has to take place when you feel safe. You can be in this space of having accountability, potentially softness, but that's open to
This is
interpretation.
great.
I'ma stay in it. My toe gonna stay in it.
Yeah.
And eventually another toe get in there too. But just stay, right? Rest, trust deeper, align with God. We want to give you opportunities to continue to reflect. We want to give you opportunities for you to stay in community with us. So think about what conversation changed you this season. What truth you've been resisting. There are things that we have said in our episodes and you like, yep, that apply to my husband. Yep, that apply to my friend. Yep, that apply to you. We so quick to say, "Oh, I know who need to hear this." You needed to hear it. That's why God had it stream across your Spotify or your Apple Podcasts. Think about what version of you are outgrowing. And I even want to go back to we talked about in an episode how new wineskins are made, right? How you got to dig out the old. You don't replace the whole container that you put the wine in. You gut the inside. And it goes through this process of rejuvenation. Like that's the outpour. Like less of me, God, more of you. That's the invitation in this space. What has God been trying to show you repeatedly, time after time after time? So think about what your yes is going to be. We constantly are talking about honesty because we really want you to get into this space where you talk to God the way that you talk to others. We over here telling people our whole on social media, I did this, that. God want to hear it. He know it's happened, but he wants you to have that level of closeness with him. Your yes may be setting boundaries. It may be breaking down our understanding of legalism as far as what we have to do in order to have this relationship with God. It could be releasing the bitterness. I'm going to raise my hand. That's me. It could be letting people in. It could be finally acknowledging what has hurt you. Whatever it is, just honor it and give it to God. That's your yes for this week.
So the time has come where we get to take the opportunity and just speak to every single woman who has listened, shared, cried, reflected, M'd us, text us, sent clips to friends, or even just sat quietly with these conversations. From the absolute bottom of our hearts, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you. Thank you for trusting us with your stories. Thank you for growing with us. And thank you for allowing this space to become the community that we all needed. This season changed us too. And we came in as proud Black professional women, wives, mothers, sisters, aunties, friends, and we're leaving all those things still, but also wiser, softer, more honest, more aware, and more surrendered than when
Yes.
we started.
Yes.
And the beautiful thing is we're still becoming together. I've always prayed and just said to God, thank you for choosing us to be on this journey. And I want to say thank you guys for taking this journey with us. So, this is wrapping up season 1. Make sure you stay connected with us. You follow the podcast, subscribe, leave a review, share your favorite episode,
Yeah.
and continue these conversations with the women in your life. You can still reach out to us, send us messages. You can email us at theyesworkpodcast@gmail.com. But seriously, y'all, we love you deeply. Thank you for rocking with us this season, and we will see you in season 2 of the Yes Work podcast. Bye, y'all.